Alright, math students, we are going to be moving on to lesson 1.3b, subtracting integers in real-world problems. Alright, yesterday we learned how to subtract integers in lesson 1.3a. Now we're going to do those same steps, and we're going to use word problems to do that. Okay? And I hope you have that handout I gave you called Keywords for solving word problems, okay? Because I'm going to be pointing out different words in these problems that give you good clues that these are subtraction problems, all right? We already know they're subtraction problems because this lesson tells us, but as we go through these problems, we want to find those words so that helps us in the future to find whether we need to add, subtract, multiply, or divide, okay? And another cool tip that will help you find out if this is a subtraction problem is to ask yourself if this problem that you're trying to solve is a final slash start problem. Okay, a final slash start problem. When what I mean is, do you have there's a final number. Okay, there was a final event that happened, and there was a starting event that happened. And what we want to find out is what happened between the final to the start. Like, what is that number that describes what happened from the final of something from where it started? Okay, a final start problem. Let's take a look at how that might apply in problem number one. In problem number one, we have a temperature problem. The temperature on Monday was -5 degrees Celsius. By Tuesday, the temperature rose to -2 degrees Celsius. We want to find the change in the temperature. Okay, now the key word that tells us that this is a subtraction problem is change. Alright, looking at that keyword list, that is in your subtraction box that tells you we're going to subtract. And the other thing that tells us it's subtraction, looking at this little trick I'm going to show you, is the final and the start. Take a look at this. On Monday it was -5 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's where it started. This is our start. We started at this temperature, and then by Tuesday it went up to -2 degrees Celsius. That is our final temperature. Okay, so we began here and then we ended here, and we want to find out what happened between the -5 degrees Celsius and the -2 degrees Celsius. Alright, so we're going to set this up. And how you subtract these, how you find out which number goes first, whether it's -5 or -2, your setup is going to look like this, guys. You're going to go the final minus the start. Alright, and that's going to equal the number that we're looking for, the final minus the start. I realize it's a little backwards. A lot of people want to go start minus final. Okay, but we set it up like this. We're taking the final event minus the starting event to find out what happened in between these two. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to take the final temperature, -2, minus the starting temperature, which was -5. And I'm just going to use a parentheses here just so that I can know that this is a -5, so that way I don't have my minus sign and my negative right next to each other, and I kind of keep them separated like this. It's kind of just a nice trick. That's all it does. So don't get confused by the parentheses. That's just a trick there to help us out, okay? This is a subtraction problem, so that means I have to do the same rule from yesterday. Same, change, change, all right? -2 is going to stay the same. Our minus sign is going to change to an addition sign, and our -5 is now going to change to the opposite, a +5. Alright, so we just changed this problem, this subtraction problem, into -2 plus 5. Alright, going back to our rules from way back in 1.1 and 1.2. When we're adding and they're different, we subtract. So 5 minus 2 is going to give us 3. And our second step is to decide if it's positive or negative. Since the positive 5 has a bigger absolute value than the negative 2, then our answer is going to stay positive. Okay, so our answer is 3 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's how much it changed. That's what happened from the final temperature of negative 2 degrees Celsius and the starting temperature of negative 5 degrees Celsius. And you can always draw a picture to kind of help you out. Let me show you on a visual. Like, let's just say this is a thermometer. And right here, let's call this 0. It's always good to label our 0. Okay, we got 0 degrees. And we started at negative 5. Okay, and the temperature went up to negative 2 degrees. Alright, so if you look at this, if you're started at 5 and you go up to negative 2, well, you have to go 3 degrees warmer to get that temperature. Alright, so you can always draw a picture to kind of help you out. Sometimes that'll save your life on a word problem. Okay, let's take a look at problem number 2. Theo had a balance in his bank account of $525. Okay, we already know that this is a positive number. We don't have to decide if it's negative or positive because it's telling us he has a positive balance. After making a withdrawal, he now has a balance of $147. Okay, still positive. Alright, there's no negative here. He still has a balance of $147 as positive. What was the overall change to his account? Okay, the keywords that tell us subtraction is overall change. Alright, we're looking at the change. Okay, and we can set up our final start problem, our clue that tells us that this is subtraction, because we have the start. This is the balance he started with. And down here is his final. Okay, that's the balance he ended with, and we just want to find out what happened to get from this number to this number, what the change was. Alright, so let's set up this problem. We're going to do this right here, like we did in number 1, the final minus start. Okay, that's our setup. We got to go final minus start. So in this case, my final is 147 minus my starting of 525. Alright, there's my setup for the problem. Now I just need to find the answer. Since it's subtraction, we got to do our neat little trick again. Same, change, change. This number stays the same. This is going to change to addition. This one is going to change to the opposite, a negative. Alright? We just turned this into an addition problem, going back to our steps from lesson 1.1. If we're adding and they're different, we actually have to subtract. Alright, subtract those two numbers and we're going to get 378. Okay. Now that we subtracted, our second step says we have to decide if it's going to be positive or negative. Go back to your numbers, find out which one has the bigger absolute value. This one is, because it is further away from 0 than 147. So this is going to have a negative answer. Okay. So our answer comes out to negative $378. Okay, and that kind of makes sense if you go back to the problem and look. He started with $525. He's making a withdrawal, which means he's taken money out. He took out $378 because it's negative. Alright, he's taken that money out of the bank, and that would leave him with $147. Okay, so our problem kind of makes sense. Alright, moving on to problem number 3. Let's check out this subtraction problem. Okay, this time we have Sarah. She was playing a board game. At the start of her turn, oh, we're already told that this is the start. That's helpful. She had negative 275 points. Ooh, Sarah's not doing too good. Okay, negative 275 points. It's a negative number. We're told that. That's good news. At the end of her turn, oh, sweet. There's the end, the final. She has negative 425 points. Oh, she is doing worse than before. All right. How much did Sarah's points change from the start of her turn to the end of her turn? Okay. Here's our keyword for subtraction, the change. This is also helpful too. How much? All right. Looking at those keyword list. Both of those are on there for subtraction. And this is also a start final, because here's our start, here's our final. We're just finding out what happened between this number and this number to get from here to even further away. Alright, set this up. We have to go final minus start. It's backwards, okay? Final minus start. Negative 425 is our final. Minus, here comes these parentheses again, because or else it would look like this. If I don't put the parentheses there, it's 275, and it just looks weird. Negative 425 minus negative 275. I just don't like them so close like that without having these parentheses. See how much better that looks? Oh, it looks fantastic. Alright, so now that I got the parentheses there, I'm just going to do the same thing. They're just there to keep them separated. This is subtraction. Guess what? Same. Change. Change. Alright, this first number is going to stay the same. This is going to change from minus to addition, and this is going to change from a negative to a positive. Alright, so I just turned this problem into negative 425 plus 275. Alright, going back to our very first lessons. Now we're adding. These two are different, which means we have to subtract. So I'm going to take 425 minus 275. Subtract those two numbers. We get 150. Okay, now we have to decide if we want our answer to be positive or negative. Looking at these two numbers, negative 425 has the bigger absolute value. It's further from 0 than that number, so this is going to be negative. Alright? Okay, so what this tells us is Sarah lost 150 points. Okay, so she started here at negative 275 points. She lost some more points, and she ended at even a lower amount of points than what she had before. Okay, our problem came together. It makes sense. Alright, I have a try this problem for you.